Hello, everyone.
Yes, you.
The Info on the Go listener.
This one's for you.
Whether you've been with us since episode 1 or you just hopped on the bus, we want to take a moment to say thank you.
Your curiosity, support, and enthusiasm fuel every story we tell and every mile we travel together.
Because of you, we've explored history, science, culture, and the wonderfully weird from canned meat to color-coded buses, and we're just getting started.
So, from the bottom of our podcasting hearts, thank you for listening, sharing, subscribing, and being a part of our growing community.
You make this journey meaningful and way more fun.
Stay curious
Stay kind.
and stay tuned
There's always more to learn.
on Info on the Go. Hi, I'm William,
And I'm Kat,
and that makes this Info on the Go.
answering questions you want to know.
So, Kat, I have a question before we get into today's episode. Have you ever heard of people who survived with all the odds against them?
Yeah, I have, but not like some of the stories we're about to get into.
Yeah, I mean this episode is truly unlike anything we have done yet.
We have 6 different tales that we are calling the Unsinkable.
The first unsinkable person we're going to get into is Tami Oldham Ashcraft. Her survival story is one of unimaginable resilience, a tale of love, loss, and sheer determination against the merciless ocean.
In 1983, Tammy and her fiancé Richard Sharp set sail from Tahiti to San Diego, embarking on what was supposed to be a dream voyage across the Pacific.
Both being experienced sailors and accustomed to the rhythm of the sea.
But 3 weeks into their journey, fate took a devastating turn.
A Category 4 hurricane, Hurricane Raymond, unexpectedly shifted course, trapping them in its path.
Well, that's terrifying.
I would say, yeah, I mean, you're on the open ocean, and I mean, where do you go?
I mean, not only that, like, what kind of ship are you in, too? As 40-foot waves and 140-mile-per-hour winds battered their yacht. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's very small. Richard insisted that Tammy take shelter below deck while he fought to keep the boat afloat.
The last thing she heard was his terrified scream, "Oh my God!" before the vessel capsized.
When Tammy regained consciousness 27 hours later, she was alone.
27 hours later. Wow.
That's crazy.
That is. The yacht was half flooded, its mast had snapped, and its navigation system was completely destroyed.
Richard was gone, his safety harness dangling in the water. The love of her life had been swallowed by the sea.
Grief threatened to consume her, but survival instincts took over.
With no working engine, no radio, and no hope of rescue, she rigged a makeshift sail using a broken spinnaker pole and storm jib.
Using only a sextant and a watch, she navigated manually, setting her sights on Hawaii, 1,500 miles away.
Dang.
Yeah, I mean, no engine. She's got a makeshift sail.
I'm really glad she was at least an experienced sailor.
Yeah. Just imagine if she wasn't.
Oh, man. For 41 days, she battled hunger, exhaustion, and despair, surviving on canned food and rationing her supplies.
Well, at least she had a little bit of canned food on the yacht there. At one point, she had to pump water out of the cabin to keep the yacht from sinking.
I can imagine that was quite the chore every moment.
I would agree with that.
Every day was a fight against the unforgiving ocean, but she refused to give up.
Finally, on November 22nd, she spotted land, Hawaii.
Against all odds, she made it. She was the sole survivor of the disaster.
Tammy's story is one of unbelievable strength, proving that even in the face of heartbreaking loss, the human spirit can endure.
She later wrote a memoir, Red Sky and Morning, which inspired the 2018 film Adrift.
Have you seen Adrift?
No, but I'm
I-
going to.
Yeah, I think I'm going to too after this for sure. Would you have had the strength to keep going?
Her determination is nothing short of extraordinary. I personally don't know if I'd be able to keep going because I have no idea how to use a sextant at all and figure out direction, which is probably bad on me.
Yeah, I learned it in school, but I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it in practice at all.
Well, I didn't even I haven't even seen a sextant except for about a picture. I've seen a picture of a sextant.
All right, Kat. So who is up next?
Jose Salvador Alvarenga's survival story is one of the most astonishing tales of human endurance, a battle against the merciless ocean that lasted 438 days.
What? 438 days?
That's crazy.
That
That
it all began on November 17th, 2012, when Alvarenga, an experienced fisherman, set out from Costa Azul, Mexico, on what was supposed to be a routine 30-hour fishing trip.
His usual fishing partner had backed out at the last minute, so he was joined by Ezekiel Cordoba, a young, inexperienced fisherman.
It's 1 year and 73 days, by the way.
Thank you.
Yep.
I did the math, but then I was trying to get to months. So it was like a year and two months,
Yeah,
2.5
actually,
months.
their small 20-foot fiberglass boat was stocked with fishing gear, a radio, and an ice box to store their catch.
At first, the trip seemed promising. They quickly hauled over 1,000 pounds of fish, filling their icebox to the brim. But then disaster struck.
A violent storm rolled in, battering their boat with relentless winds and huge waves.
For 5 days, they fought to steer back to shore, but the storm had destroyed their motor and wiped out their navigation equipment.
With no way to call for help, they were adrift, lost in the vast Pacific Ocean.
As the days stretched into weeks, their food supplies ran out, forcing them to dump their entire catch to lighten the boat.
Wow, that would be hard. You caught all that food, which they didn't know what was in store down the road, right?
Right. I mean, we are not all blessed with the power of foresight.
Yeah. They survived on rainwater, raw fish, turtles, and even birds that landed on their boat.
Cordoba, unable to stomach the raw diet, grew weaker and eventually succumbed to starvation, leaving Alvarenga completely alone.
For 14 months, he drifted across the Pacific, battling sharks, the scorching sun, and the crushing loneliness.
He kept himself sane by talking to imaginary companions and holding on to hope.
Then on January 30th, 2014, he spotted land, the Marshall Islands.
Mustering the last of his strength, he swam to shore where he was discovered by locals, naked, clutching a knife, and shouting in Spanish.
His survival was so unbelievable that some doubted his story, but medical examinations confirmed he had endured the impossible.
Alvarenga became the first person in recorded history to survive over a year lost at sea in a small boat.
His tale is a testament to human resilience, proving that even in the face of the impossible odds, survival is still possible.
Could you imagine being lost at sea for over a year?
No, I could not. I could not. I would be so seasick it wouldn't even be funny.
I haven't really ever been on the ocean. I've been on those like let's go see whale watches or whatever, and maybe the occasional like speedboat in a lake.
Yeah, I've been on lake boats don't bother me, like bass boats and all that stuff. It's when you get on the open waters like cruises or like deep sea fishing trips. I have to Dramamine up at least a day in advance.
Jeez.
Yeah. I get
No.
motion sickness riding in the back of a car.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a I used to get like sick in the cars too.
But
And
now that I know chewing gum, that motion sickness, maybe I'll start doing that in the future.
you could definitely try it.
Yeah.
Get the original chickle.
Yeah, there you go. Or maybe try that 5 because it holds its flavor longer, right?
Right.
All right. So, Kat, who do we have up next?
Julianne Cope's survival story reads like the script of an intense Hollywood thriller, except it was entirely real.
It was Christmas Eve, 1971, and 17-year-old Julian was flying with her mother aboard Lanza Flight 508 over the Peruvian rainforest, headed to Pucallpa to visit her father, a zoologist studying in the Amazon.
The flight was supposed to be routine, but fate had other plans.
Does
I'm scared just because it's 1971.
Oh yeah, I mean, we could probably do a whole show on this because of her journey. And maybe we will. Maybe we'll go back and revisit it one day. But disaster struck when a lightning bolt slammed into the aircraft, ripping it apart in midair. Could you imagine this part now? In
Absolutely
midair.
not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. And with all the plane crashes going on right now, I'm scared to fly. Imagine the chaos, the deafening roar of spitting metal, passengers screaming, and the sudden plunge as the plane was swallowed by the sky.
Julian was strapped to her seat and she plummeted 10,000 feet toward the jungle below. I mean,
That's
kind of,
crazy all by itself.
yeah, for real.
Uh, I'm terrified for her. I'm terrified of heights. So, against all odds, she survived the fall.
I mean, that 10,000 foot fall, that's unsinkable in its own, right?
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so. Wow.
She awoke to the wreckage, battered but alive. Her collarbone fractured, her arm deeply gashed, her body was weak. I would
Well,
say
yeah,
she was really weak. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, collarbones suck, from what I gather.
I've never
Not,
had mine fractured, but yeah.
I've me either. Thank goodness.
And just think, she just experienced coming down from 10,000 feet too. So, I mean, she's really shaken up here, right?
Yeah, for sure. Trauma is not the word. But her greatest challenge was only the beginning.
She was alone in the Amazon rainforest, surrounded by predators, poisonous creatures, and the overwhelming silence of isolation. I don't know, the Amazon rainforest, and you're alone?
Mm. There are so many things that are out to get you in there.
Yeah.
Drawing on survival skills her father had taught her.
Julian followed a small stream, knowing it would eventually lead to a river or civilization.
For 11 excruciating days, she trekked through the jungle battling hunger, exhaustion, and infected wounds.
At one point, she discovered an abandoned boat with a canister of gasoline, which she used to pour over her arm to remove maggots eating away at her flesh.
I mean, so yeah, it's really gross to have maggots chewing on your skin, but maggots eat the dead flesh, so it's also probably a big thing that was keeping it clean at the same time.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
That's just from what I know about maggots, which maybe not be much. We could do that an episode on that.
Okay.
The pain was unbearable, but she refused to give up.
Then salvation. A group of local loggers stumbled upon her, rescuing the lone survivor of Flight 508.
Out of 92 passengers, she was the only one who made it out alive. That's so sad though, too, because her mom was on that flight.
Have you ever heard of something called survivor's guilt?
Yeah,
I mean, for her, she's the only one.
out of 92 people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I do not know what she was going through, but I can only imagine.
Right. I, mm, it's insane.
Her story is one of unbelievable resilience, proving that sometimes even the odds are impossible. Survival is still possible.
Later, Julian devoted her life to studying the rainforest, the very place that nearly became her grave.
What would you have done in her place?
Man, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't either.
I
That's a
mean,
really,
I do have some survival skills. I do like to go camping and all that good stuff. So, I mean, we definitely figure it out.
I mean, it's the rainforest. Like there's tons of
I'm
stuff there.
And the smartest thing she could have done is follow a river because that's the only thing I would know to do.
Yeah,
Thankfully, she found one.
same.
Her strength and determination are nothing short of extraordinary.
Up next, we have
One of history's most astonishing survival stories is that of Poon Lim, the man who defied the ocean for 133 days.
in 1942 during World War II. Lim was a steward aboard the British merchant ship, the SS Ben Lomond, when it was torpedoed by a German U-boat in the Atlantic Ocean. So now we're in a
Oh,
different ocean.
okay. All right. As the ship sank, Lim managed to grab a life jacket and jump overboard, watching as the wreck disappeared beneath the waves.
For hours, he drifted along the vast ocean until he spotted a wooden raft, a small emergency float left behind by the sinking ship.
He climbed aboard, but his ordeal was far from over.
With no food, no fresh water, and no rescue in sight, Lim had to rely on pure ingenuity to survive.
Using his belt buckle, he fashioned a makeshift fishing hook, catching fish and drinking their blood to stay hydrated.
I don't know if I could do that. I mean, I guess, I
When push
mean,
comes to shove, you're gonna figure it out.
yeah, I would say, yeah, I say I probably couldn't, but yeah, I could probably do that. When rain came, he collected the water using his clothes.
That's really smart.
Yeah, that is very smart, especially on a little wooden raft.
Right. He even managed to catch seabirds using their meat for food and their feathers for bait.
At one point, he fought off a shark using a water jug, proving that his survival instincts were razor sharp.
And days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months.
Lim drifted thousands of miles, battling storms, scorching sun, and relentless hunger. And just think, he didn't have Wilson.
Right. Finally, after 133 days, he was spotted by a Brazilian fisherman who rescued him and brought him to safety.
133 days. His survival was so unbelievable that the British Royal Navy studied his techniques to improve life raft survival training.
Yeah, I mean, that's a plus.
Yeah, I would say so.
Lim later moved to the United States, where he lived until his passing in 1991.
His story is a testament to human resilience, proving that even in the face of impossible odds, survival is still possible.
Could you have lasted that long?
I'm not sure if I could or not. I wonder how long was Tom Hanks on his raft?
I have no idea. I was thinking about that in the first story.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, isn't it Drift Away or Castaway?
Yeah, Castaway. Wilson!
Right, him talking to his coconut or something.
No,
No, it was like a volleyball.
it was a volleyball.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Kat, going to start us on the next one.
Imagine you're a sailor aboard a warship caught in the middle of World War II.
Amid the chaos, legends are born, and none quite as curious as Unsinkable Sam, the cat with 9 lives that might have actually been 33.
It all started in 1941 aboard the Bismarck, Nazi Germany's pride and terror of the seas.
I think we should do one on the Bismarck.
That would be cool. I hadn't heard of that one.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, that we'll do one on that. And the
sounds good.
mighty, we'll do one on the Bismarck and the Mighty Hood.
Nice. Okay.
And some of my WW2 people out there will be like, yes. After a fierce battle with the British forces, the battleship went down. But amidst the wreckage, something unexpected floated among the debris. A black and white cat, soaked but alive.
British sailors rescued him, dubbed him Oscar, and took him aboard their own vessel, the HMS Cossack.
Life aboard the Cossack seemed safer, but only for a little while, right?
Right, especially in that time. 5 months later, the ship was torpedoed by a German U-boat, sending sailors scrambling for survival.
And who else managed to escape death?
Oscar, found drifting once again in the waves.
The resilient feline was swiftly transferred to the HMS Ark Royal, ironically, the very ship that had helped sink the Bismarck. So I have a question now. This cat's done been on 2 ships that sank. He's on a third ship now.
Surely the third ship would be safe, right?
I don't know.
Wrong. A month later, the Ark Royal was torpedoed, going down just like the others.
As rescue crews pulled survivors from the wreckage, they found Oscar once again clinging to floating debris, wet, bewildered, but still alive.
At this point, the British Navy decided that this cat had cheated fate enough.
I would say so. I don't think I would put him on another ship. Oscar, now officially titled Unsinkable Sam, was retired from naval duty and lived out his remaining years in Belfast, Northern Ireland, finally free of the ocean's wrath.
Well, thank goodness. He passed away peacefully in 1955, leaving behind one of history's most bizarre maritime myths.
So, was Sam a real survivor or just a wartime tale passed from sailor to sailor?
No one knows for sure, but one thing is for certain, few felines have ever been so infamous.
I think that was a pretty fun story in the midst of what we have going on here.
Right?
And maybe Unsinkable Sam was a myth, but I mean it's still a pretty intriguing tale there, right?
Little tidbit, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Kat. So what do we got up next?
Violet Jessup's life was the kind of story that would make even the most daring adventurer pause.
She wasn't just an ordinary stewardess. She was a woman whose fate seemed forever tied to the ocean's most infamous disasters, earning her the nickname Miss Unsinkable.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, everyone. I want to tell you about tellmail.ai. Mail will guide your loved one through a personalized journey in storytelling. So, if you're looking for a unique gift for a birthday, anniversary, or a wedding gift, tellmail.ai is perfect and it will last for generations to come. Mel will help guide your loved one into a perfectly crafted story that can later be transferred into a hardcover book. And this will last for generations. It's like any other gift that you could possibly give. That's tellmail.ai. Hi, everyone. Ever wish your energy boost came in candy form instead of some can with sketchy ingredients? Look no more because energy rocks are here. This isn't your average energy product. It pops, literally. I was researching for a show the other day, struggling to stay awake when I tried these wild popping candy crystals called Energy Rocks. Within minutes, I was focused, alert, and wide awake. Total lifesaver. Energy Rocks are like pop rocks for grown-ups, packed with fast-acting caffeine, B12, and L-theanine for smooth, crash-free energy. Just rip, pour, and pop. No pills, no drink, no mess. With only 4 grams of sugar and flavors like pineapple, mango, and cherry berry, it's candy with a purpose. Perfect for students, gamers, busy parents, podcasters, or anyone who hits the wall. Pop, focus, go. With Energy Rocks, use code INFO on the go 20 off to get 20% off your first order or click the link in the show notes.
Goodness. Her story began in 1911 aboard the RMS Olympic, the largest and most luxurious ocean liner of its time. 1911's got me scared.
As a stewardess, she was accustomed to the grand halls and glittering chandeliers of these floating palaces.
But the Olympic soon collided with the HMS Hawke, a British warship, causing severe damage to the ship's hull.
Despite the chaos, the Olympic managed to limp back to port, and Jessup walked away unscathed, though perhaps fate was giving her a gentle warning of what was about to come.
Just a year later, in 1912, she found herself aboard the RMS Titanic, the so-called unsinkable ship.
Uh, I wonder how that's going to go.
Oh, I don't know.
Let's
I,
go on.
Phew.
Jessup was working the night the Titanic struck the iceberg. A panic gripped the passengers. She followed orders to calm frightened families, eventually being ushered onto lifeboat 16.
Well, that's a plus. She
Yeah.
got on a lifeboat. That's more than a lot of other people.
Could you imagine? I mean, she's on one ship that just managed to make it back to port. Maybe that was kind of, maybe she,
Maybe that didn't scare her enough, I guess.
yeah, maybe not.
A crew member handed her an infant and instructed her to care for the child as they drifted away from the sinking vessel.
Hours later, she was rescued, but the tragedy of that night would never fade from her memory. Well, I would say it,
I
I
mean, it
wouldn't,
didn't fade from anybody's memory.
no, we're still talking about it today.
Absolutely. 4 years later, despite witnessing the horror of the Titanic, Jessup once again took to the sea, this time as a nurse aboard the HMHS Britannic, a hospital ship deployed during World War One.
The Britannic was Titanic's sister ship, equally grand and impressive.
But fate struck again when the Britannic hit a mine in the Aegean Sea.
The explosion was devastating, and the ship sank within 55 minutes, much faster than the Titanic.
Dang.
Man, I mean, one, two, three.
Right. Jessup attempted to escape in a lifeboat, but was sucked underwater by the ship's propellers. Oh, that's scary.
But somehow she survived, though she suffered a head injury from the impact.
That's the only thing, because that's amazing.
That is, her story is very amazing.
Despite living through three of the most infamous ship disasters in history, Jessup was undeterred.
She continued working at sea for decades, eventually retiring and writing a memoir about her experiences. I
I'm gonna have
mean,
to read that memoir.
I
That
mean,
sounds interesting.
very
Mm,
interesting. I mean, think about it. I mean, the Titanic. Wow. I
That's
would love to
insane,
read that. Yeah.
right? She passed away peacefully in 1971, leaving behind one of history's most astonishing maritime survival stories.
While Unsinkable Sound may hold the title among cats, Violet Jessup proved that some humans are just as unshakable, if not more.
What would you have done in her place?
I don't know if I would have got back on a ship.
Me either.
Yeah, I mean, after the Titanic, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Nah,
I,
me
I,
either.
yeah, I don't know.
So what's up next, William?
The legend of Hugh Williams is one of the strangest maritime coincidences in history. A tale so bizarre that it almost feels like fate itself was playing a game.
It all begins in 1664 when a ship sailing through the Menai Strait, a treacherous stretch of water off the coast of Wales, was caught in a storm and sank.
Out of 81 passengers, only one man survived. Would you like to guess his name?
Hugh Williams.
Fast forward to 1785 and history repeats itself.
Another ship sailing the same waters meets the same tragic fate.
This time, 60 people were aboard, and once again, only one survivor emerged from the wreckage. Would you like to guess his name?
Hugh Williams. Ding, 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 ding.
Then in 1820, yet another vessel sank in the Menai Strait, claiming the lives of 25 passengers. And, Kat, there was one sole survivor.
You guessed it, Hugh Williams.
By now, the pattern is kind of undeniable, right?
What a sheer coincidence.
A family tradition of surviving shipwrecks.
Or was there something mystical about the name Hugh Williams?
But the eerie tale doesn't end there.
In 1940, by World War II, a British trawler was destroyed by a German mine.
Out of all the passengers, only two men survived, both named Hugh Williams.
The story has been passed down for centuries, sparking debates about whether it's a historical fact or an urban legend.
Some historians argue that Hugh Williams was simply a common Welsh name, making it more likely that multiple survivors shared it.
Others believe the repeated shipwrecks and identical names are too strange to be mere coincidence.
Regardless of the truth, the legend of Hugh Williams remains one of history's most fascinating maritime mysteries.
Would you dare set sail if your name was Hugh Williams?
I don't think I would set sail with anybody named Hugh Williams.
Right.
I mean, because think about it. I mean, everybody else is passing away but Hugh Williams.
Right. Oh, what's your name? Oh, my name's Hugh Williams. Oh, I need to
I
get off the boat, please.
Can y'all stop this ride?
Right.
All right.
These stories remind us of something profound, that the human spirit, though fragile, can be astonishingly unbreakable. In the face of storms, solitude, tragedy, and terror, survivors don't just endure, they overcome.
So ask yourself, what would you do when the sea tests your will? Because sometimes survival isn't about strength, it's about the heart.
Yes, I agree with that.
And I thought, the Hugh Williams one, ending on that, I thought was pretty lighthearted
Yeah.
because we started off very serious.
I love how we have all ships and then but the one lady who plummeted in a plane.
She was just unsinkable. I mean, even from the air, right?
That's true. That's true.
And that was the way that I looked at it when I wanted to add that particular story in there.
Gravity defying tricks.
The one gentleman that was out at sea for what was it, 438 days?
Right. A year and a couple months, 14 months.
I mean, and his partner lived through most of it and then
I
died.
think, yeah, no, watching your friend buddy guy die slowly sounds awful.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the plane, you did I mean, I know that she watched her mother pass, but she still had her father. I mean, yeah, she was by herself on the ground, but she didn't have to sit and watch for days on end
That's
as
true. At least it was quick for her mom.
yeah, and he had to watch his friend, you know,
Hopefully.
succumb to starvation.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Just fade away slowly until you pass away. It just sounds terrible to go.
But, I guess the moral of this story is don't travel with anybody named Hugh Williams.
Right.
Sorry, Hugh Williams.
And always pick up a cat out of the ocean.
Always. I don't know. That cat had some pretty bad luck.
Well, I guess that's why he retired from the Navy.
I guess. Uh,
If you would like to support this podcast, tell a friend and help get the word out.
If you would like to help us keep the show going, you can do so at Patreon. The link is in the show notes.
William and I want to thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Join the Facebook group at Info on the Go
Share with us your show ideas.
or ask us a question.
Subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Send us a text using the link in the show notes or leave a review.
Email us at,
infoonthegopodcast@gmail.com.
and yes, that is all one word. Till next time.
Stay curious.